Hey guys, welcome to Travels with Trouble. The weather is good, so it's time to get out on a camping adventure. First step is to get all the gear ready. Seems like a lot of stuff for a night's camping. And then get it all loaded into the car. First trip, back again. Second trip. Any chance of some help here? Time to Tetris it all into the boot, and we're finally ready to hit the road. This time we will head north of Adelaide to the famous Barossa Valley wine region, with a stop in Tanunda before heading to our campsite in Swan Conservation Park in the heart of the Murrylands region of SA. Finally, we hope to hit Brookfield Conservation Park to hopefully spot a very rare southern hairy-nosed wombat. After an hour's drive, we hit Tanunda, the centre and starting point of the world-famous Barossa Valley. The town was established in 1848 and is home to a variety of restaurants, shops, and of course, our first stop, the Apex Bakery. The bakery was founded in 1924 and everything is cooked in its original wood-fired oven. Yummy. Continuing to explore the town, we decided to stop by Brown's Barossa Donuts, which make their own fluffy brioche donuts. Now, as you know, I'm a big donut fan, so we had to stop by and try it. They have a variety of fancy flavoured stuffed donuts. They all look super delicious. We went with a vanilla custard and Portuguese tart, but they also threw in an original flavoured one for free. Thanks so much, guys. We continued on to explore the town sites like this old Lutheran church. At this time of year, the streets are particularly magical as the blossoms are in full bloom, creating a picturesque scene. We then arrived at one of the icons of the Barossa Valley, the Chateau Tanunda Winery, which was established in 1890. The building itself is absolutely immense and is a designated monument on the South Australian Heritage Register. Even for non-wine drinkers like us, it was such an impressive experience. The building apparently took 11 months to complete and was the biggest building in the Southern Hemisphere when it was completed. Even at that time, it could handle 100 tons of grapes per day. Inside, the tasting room was beautifully decorated with the history of the winery, from its founders and various family owners over the years. Their cellar door offers visitors tastings for their famous and award-winning Shiraz and Cabernet Sauvignon wines. We found this place was worth a visit even if you were just curious travellers like us. You can even book in special tastings in a private seating area surrounded by the wine barrels. After our visit to the Barossa, we headed east up the hills to Knighton Lookout, which had sweeping views of the hills and the surrounding plains. If you have the chance, you should pass through this lookout. The roads wind through the hills and the stone walls make you feel like you're in an English countryside. We even spotted a few kangaroos amongst the herds and herds of sheep in the area. The hills separate the endless vineyards and the arid plains. Not long after, we arrived at our destination, Swan Conservation Park. Dry, semi-arid mallee environment. The campsite here was flat, had some tree cover, and had a little fire pit set up. The first job was to set up the tent. Now the wind did put up a pretty big fight here, but not long after we had it up and ready to go. The campsite was just off the main entry, and we set off for an afternoon walk to see if we could spot any wombats in the area or any other native animals. The wombats were the main reason for the park's protection in 1970. To get a better view of the area, I set up a drone, and it wasn't long before I spotted a wombat den with its massive burrows. But unfortunately, it was a fair way off the track, and no one was out and about just yet. Then just as I was about to fly it back, the drone suddenly lost connection, and it was a little windy, so I saw an error saying it wouldn't return back. So I started running towards its location, thinking that it would land there or fall out of the sky. Look, you can see me go. It ended up going to a fail-safe return to home, so it went up 100 meters high and started returning where I launched it. And as it was a little windy and that high up, I couldn't even hear it. And there it goes, safely landing where we had left off. Meanwhile, we spent at least 30 minutes searching everywhere around the path and bushland in its last known location. After giving up, we were heading back to the campsite when I spotted it.
I can't believe.
High winds, it wouldn't return to home. So we're running there. It must have gone up really high and gone over the top of us and then come down here.
Was glad to have it back, but what an absolute ordeal. After that, we went for a short drive, and surely enough, we spotted a wombat. The southern hairy-nosed wombat. He had come out to get some evening sun to warm his tough little bum. They survive in this very arid and very dry area solely on a species of native perennial grass you can see in this area. They spend most of their time in their burrows, which can be quite huge. We could even see another burrow in the distance which might be linked together and can house up to 10 different wombats. It was such a beautiful sight to see him in the sunset, so we stayed there with him while he sunbathed. This was actually our second time out this way in search of these wombats, but our first time seeing them. We also saw a huge flock of sulphur-crested cockatoos making an absolute racket. It was really a stunning evening. Many may travel all the way to Tasmania to see the common wombat, but we have our own cute wombats in our backyard, so we hope this area can remain protected for the future. Back to the campsite, we warmed ourselves by the fire and had a beer or two to celebrate seeing the wombat, before cooking up a feed of simple steak and mushrooms and salad. Now, did you know that the River Murray area has the first dark sky reserve in Australia? One of the few places it's so dark that you don't get any light pollution from the towns or cities. If you jump on their website, you can see a great map of all the locations included in the dark sky reserve, and even take on a guided tour. We spent the rest of the evening by the fire looking up at all the stars, and if the moon isn't too bright, the Milky Way too. The next day, after not sleeping too well, I was up early and decided to prepare breakfast for the one who slept much better. Then that dreaded time to pack away all the gear again. From there, we took a drive down to Swan Reach to see the Murray River, Australia's longest river. From this point, the only way to cross the river to the town was the cable-pulled ferry, and the little Corellas were definitely making themselves heard here. The huge cliffs were a sight to see, and we'll definitely be back to explore more of the area. This dry part of our outback had so much life, from the gorgeous yellow rosellas, kangaroos, eagles, or maybe it was a large kite, soaring overhead, even the shingleback lizards, or sleepy lizards as we call them. This area is super important and needs our protection. We really hope that you like this getaway, guys, and we hope you enjoyed it, and it makes you want to come and explore this part of SA. We also saw a lot of roadkill in this area, which shows the amount of wildlife that there is. Please drive slowly through these hotspots, particularly at dawn and dusk and at night when they're the most active. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you in the next one.